And welcome back to the show. Well, City Harvest is the first and largest food rescue organization helping to feed millions of New Yorkers who struggle to put meals on their table since 1982. This year, City Harvest will rescue 153 million pounds of fresh, nutritious food and deliver it free of charge to more than 400 food pantries, soup kitchens, and community partners, and its own mobile markets across the 5 boroughs of New York City. Joining us now to share a little bit more and share in the details is the Director of Policy and Government Relations at City Harvest. We welcome back Jerome Nathaniel. And Jerome, good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us here.
Glad to have you. And as we talk a little bit about where we are, I mean, obviously we're a whole lot better in this pandemic, but yet and still City Harvest is at the forefront of dealing with this crisis head on. Talk to us about how you guys have responded to the ongoing need.
Yeah, so just to preface, as you started off, you said we've been here since 1982 doing this work. And unfortunately, the way that I'm going to share how we're responding now is going to sound very similar. And that's because even before the pandemic, even when there was record low unemployment, 4% unemployment, there were still over 2.5 million New Yorkers that didn't have enough income to afford food, housing, transportation, and childcare in our city. And we were expecting to do 66 million pounds of food during those so-called economic prosperity times. So you fast forward to the pandemic, as you said, we're anticipating doing about 153 million pounds through the end of our fiscal year, which ends in July. So even as we're recovering from the public health aspect of the pandemic, we know that the recession or the food insecurity and the need is going to last well beyond this time. During the recession, it took nearly 10 years from the 2008 recession for food insecurity rates to get back to normal. So we definitely got our work cut out for us.
And talk about having your work cut out for you. I mean, obviously, a lot of hungry people, a lot more on the unemployment line, a lot with dealing with housing insecurity, and of course, food insecurity. What's it been like, given the fact that this number is rising and you're talking about getting to 153 million? What's it been like for your staff?
It's a lot of work. We're always prepared to respond to, albeit if it's a natural disaster or a human-made disaster or a public health crises. It's a lot of work. At the height of the pandemic, when unemployment was as high as 20%, we opened over three dozen new emergency relief sites. So we had to really pivot to where that need was, and really be responsive to the fact that, as I said, this isn't necessarily new need, but it's exposed need. So we know that some neighborhoods were hit even harder than others. We know that the overwhelming majority of those that filed unemployment are lost income or low wage workers, were Black, Latinx, Asian, immigrant communities. So we need to be very responsive to figure out where the need is and make sure that we're meeting people where they're at.
Right. And out of this, I mean, there will be a lot of questions and also a lot more needs. Talk to me about some of the policies that City Harvest is looking to advocate for and really be a voice in this pandemic.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. So as we're doing everything we can on the front lines in terms of our operations to, as I say, feed the line, we also need to shorten the line. The way we shorten it is through our advocacy work. So on the city level, we've been providing a lot of materials for people that go to our pantries and soup kitchens to learn about ranked choice voting, which is the new approach to voting during this upcoming election. And we also, if you visit our website at cityharvest.org, we have information on some of the mayoral candidates and their stance on different food policy issues. So I really urge people to pay close attention to that as we prepare to fight hunger and to be better off than we were before the pandemic. And as far as on the national level, I really encourage folks to pay very close attention to what we're calling the American Families Plan and Child Nutrition Reauthorization. And both of those huge bills are opportunities for us to really get at child hunger and to really use what we learned during the course of this pandemic to fight hunger in the long term.
Are you satisfied that maybe on the side of elected officials, and we'll talk about them first, that they really get the understanding of how bad the food insecurity and how bad hunger is across the city? Do you get that feeling?
I would say one of the things that we've learned over the course of the pandemic that was a good thing is that a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar allies that knew that there was significant need in their neighborhood, continue to work with us, and they stepped up their work across the city in neighborhoods like East New York, Brownsville, and the South Bronx. So we really appreciate that. A lot of electeds were attuned to some of the needs in their neighborhood, and then there were others who realized that there was this significant need in their neighborhood that predated COVID that also began to reach out. So we're getting a lot of calls from electeds, but our job now is to really make sure that we translate that understanding of the need and getting food in the pantries to really being committed to passing policies that end hunger and shorten the line, as opposed to continuously having this long line at our pantries and soup kitchens.
Yeah, nobody can do it by themselves. How's the public able to actually partner to assist you in in your efforts?
Yeah, so there's a number of ways. Right now, we have our annual Share Lunch Fight Hunger campaign. And this is something that's very important to us, and we've been doing it for a long time, especially as the summer months come along and children are having their access to school meals disrupted, especially during the pandemic. Child hunger is increasing significantly higher than what it is for the general population by over 50%. So through our Share Lunch Fight Hunger campaign, we raise crucial dollars to help feed families experiencing food insecurity. And this year, if you go to our website, there's different ways you could donate. You can even do it from your phone. If you text lunch to 20222, New Yorkers can donate $15 to the campaign, and that's enough to feed 41 children for a day.
That's amazing. What's it been like in terms of public participation and public support pre-COVID?
Public participation and support in City Harvest work has, we continue to be impressed by the level of generosity and support from anything from food donors who are stepping up their donations and working hard, even during a time when the restaurant industry got hit hard. They thought of City Harvest first. We really appreciate. Folks are always looking for ways to volunteer at our mobile markets. So you go to our website and go to the Take Action section and look for volunteer opportunities. There's also plenty of opportunities there. And then, honestly, my bias as the advocacy guy is that we've seen a lot of people step up their advocacy. We could say it's being at home and finding ways to advocate from home that people are getting a little more attuned to government and systems. But I'm very happy to say that more people are calling their elected officials, telling them the importance it is to fight hunger, and how a lot of these relief packages we're seeing are things that shouldn't disappear in a year, because it took 10 years to recover from the recession. So we shouldn't pull the rug from under people as they're still trying to recover from this.
But I know that one of the things that are making a difference for you guys also is the mobile market. For our viewers who may not be so familiar, share with us how the mobile market works.
Yeah, so the mobile market is near and dear to us. It's one of the so typically we have 400 different pantries and soup kitchens that are doing that direct service, and we're providing the 153 million pounds of food for them to serve the community. The mobile markets is an opportunity for us to do that direct service and to bring our tractor trailers, bring our trucks directly to NYCHA facilities or public housing, like St. Mary's, Mariners Harbor, Stapleton, about two in each borough, and to be able to provide a variety of produce to families on biweekly basis at each of those sites. So it's really a great opportunity to either volunteer and get directly involved, and also for us to make sure that we're getting that food directly to families and be able to see those changes for families that are able to participate and access that fresh produce.
Well, Jerome, as always, great having you here on the show, and thank you for sharing and the work that's going on at City Harvest. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having us.
All righty. Well, I want to let you know now, if you want more information, we urge you, please don't hesitate to visit the website. How do you do that? You go to cityharvest.org, and then also you can follow them on Twitter at City Harvest. We encourage you, please don't go anywhere. We do have more open coming up. We'll return coming up right after this.